Well, don't worry, we have not had a power cut here at the Sky News Centre. We are doing a little experiment to discuss the whole energy-saving issue. With me is Professor Heinz Wolff in the studio with a candle to talk us through the whole issue of energy-saving light bulbs. Also joining me, as you can see, is Chris Abbott from the British Hardware Federation. We're going to talk to you in just a second. Professor, if we can talk to you first. You brought this candle in. You just want to demonstrate exactly what true energy-saving is.
Well, I mean, with an absolutely straight face. I have to say this is the only truly green form of lighting, because it's a beeswax candle and a cotton wick, all made of renewables, very little labor in it. It doesn't actually give an awful lot of light. So what people have been living with ever since, gas lights and so on in between times, but they had electric light bulbs. Now I've broken this electric light bulb here to show that what actually happens, just like the candle, is that something gets very, very hot, that the little particles of soot in here which get hot. And that's to show that you can get the effect of an electric light bulb. I've got a gas flame here, and I'm going to make my filament glow.
Yeah.
So that's what happens inside an electric light bulb.
Yeah.
And then people came along and said, this is terribly inefficient because you only turn about 2 or 3% of the energy into light. Let's have fluorescent lights, which are become very much more common. And then they folded up fluorescent lights into much smaller space, and they claimed that one of these only took about a fifth of the energy for a given amount of light. It turns out to be not quite true. It's a newspaper article this morning shows it's more like a third or a quarter, but it's nevertheless a very substantial saving in energy, which is well worthwhile. And if you ask me why it is worthwhile, it is to increase the energy independence of this country. It's nothing to do with climate change. It's to make us less dependent on people who may not be friends, who otherwise would have to supply us our energy. And what's now being developed are LEDs. Mm. Here I've got something which actually fits on my forehead.
Yeah. And
this really is bright, with a very small amount of power. It's possibly about twice as efficient as these.
So we could have light bulbs like that coming up.
The bigger ones made of multiple clusters of these. Still relatively speaking expensive, but I've got some much bigger ones in my laboratory. So that's probably where we are going to go for many of the applications. And rear lights in cars and internal lighting of cars and so on is already based on white or colored LEDs. So this is probably where the future is going to go. So this is an intermediate stage which we're going through, and it's really the big fluorescence which people are used to, folded up into a smaller space, and have the electronics which are required to transform our mains electricity into what these things need, actually in the base here. So you throw them away every time. Yeah. And even though they last 8 times as long as the ordinary light bulb.
The issue is that obviously that LED there is very, very powerful, but a lot of people don't like the energy-saving light bulbs because they don't give off enough light. Can they improve the technology to get them to give off more light, or are we stuck with these until we come up with the, the next generation?
No, you simply have to use a bigger one. At the moment they say if you use an 11-watt one, you get the same amount of light as a 60-watt electric light bulb, and it just isn't true. You got about half the amount of light which a 60-watt light bulb produces, so you need to use rather more powerful one of these. And they, of course, shade each other to some extent. There's a problem about how you geometrically arrange these. But no doubt they will get a little bit better, but ultimately I think we are in the LED phase, which also lasts very much longer.
Which is how long do we have to wait for that one to come in?
Years, I should imagine, but not all that many years.
Okay, let's bring in Chris Abbott from the British Hardware Federation. Hello. What are your customers saying to you about the new energy-saving light bulbs? Because a lot of people aren't very happy with them, are they?
Yes, just like in your report there, people are not very happy about them at all. And I just don't see why the government are banning them at the moment. It's like Heinz says here, viable alternatives are in the pipeline, but they're not developed yet. And we're getting a lot of feedback from our customers. They just simply aren't happy of losing the traditional light bulb at the moment.
Yeah. They save 80% of energy, though. That's the whole point, and it's the EU that have brought in this legislation, isn't it? So do you think that people will kind of go to extremes? They'll start stocking up in the next 24 hours to use the old light bulbs? I've read reports in the paper of people doing that, kind of go to hardware stores and just filling up their trolley so that they can have loads in the garage, and they don't have to worry about the energy-saving ones for a while.
We have seen that in both our Oxley St Mary and Seaton stores this week, and we have just been inundated with people stocking up because the ban is only on manufacture and import at the moment. And retailers are still allowed to sell them, so we have stocked up to fill our customers' needs for the next several years. And speaking to other retailers across the country through our Hardware Federation, the British Hardware Federation, it's a similar picture right across the UK that people are panic buying these because they don't want to lose the traditional light bulb.
Okay, well, Chris Abbott, thank you very much. And Professor Heinz Wolff, thanks for bringing in the various different light bulbs and the candle experiment. I quite like that. Candlelight's supposed to be more flattering, isn't it?
Oh, for ladies especially.
Thanks very much.